tonight. Cosmos Reserve. Alright. So tonight I'm going to install the Vitesse Motorsports Throttle Controller. And the idea behind this is to get rid of some of the lag in the throttle pedal due to the fact that the C6 is a drive-by-wire type setup. And from what I've read and what I've understand about this, it's very similar to the sport buttons and just your everyday sedan. It's going to tighten up the throttle response, make it feel a little bit quicker. It doesn't obviously add any power, but at any given point through the pedal travel, it's going to essentially open up the throttle body just a little bit more than what it would be relative to where it was without the controller. The cool thing with this model is that you can cycle through a variety of different settings, so you can essentially adjust the sensitivity of it. In my BMW, I've got one of the 328s, and it has a sport button, and it's noticeable for sure, but it's really got its regular everyday comfort mode that's fine for cruising around town, but there's noticeable lag, and then that coupled with the fact that it's a turbocharged car, the turbo 4-cylinder, it has a lot of delay when you stomp on it on the freeway, when it kicks down a gear, waits for the turbo to spool up on top of the regular drive-by-wire lag. But when I turn on the sport button, it definitely eliminates quite a bit of that. So I'm hoping that this will achieve the same sort of effect. And I like the fact that it can be adjusted. I've already started pulling. There's a panel underneath the footwell, the driver's footwell, and there's 3 of those plastic pins that kind of have barbs on them. They were bare to get off, so I've already popped those off because it's going to be tough to video underneath there. But I pop those off. I just use like a cone wrench for bikes. If you guys know what those are, they're flat. They're very similar to trim tools. They're the flat, open-ended wrench instead of a normal, Craftsman box wrench that's thick. So it could get underneath that little plastic lip, and then I just kind of use leverage to pop it up. And there's 3 of those, and that panel pops down. And then there's a harness that essentially this plugs right into on one end, the factory end, and then this plugs in, so it essentially just acts as a go-between the section. And then I will string this up probably to the armrest console. I'd like to put it in the glove box as well, but I think that might involve a little bit more disassembly than what I'm willing to do on the dashboard. But I've seen a couple pictures of it with the controller installed in the ashtray. I think I might have said glove box before, but ashtray is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go get to it and get it installed. All right, so here we are back at the car, and there's really no way to get my my larger camera in here, so I just kind of gonna have to use the phone for this. But there you can see the panel down below the driver's footwell area. Here, maybe show. So you can see there's 3 tabs, one right there, one right there, and then the 3rd one right back here. And this just sits up just like that. So pop down, and what we're looking for is basically that section right there. We're going to unplug that, plug the throttle controller in between that section, and then kind of run the cable up underneath this carpet and probably through the gaps there. Maybe just try to go right in the center console, or back down there behind the ashtray. And also you can see the suede knob came made that I mentioned was on its way. So we're pretty tricked now. We got the suede steering wheel and shifter set up. All right. So one note here is that you want to, or you need to pull, there's that little gray tab that comes up, and that's the lock that's going to allow these 2 pieces to come apart. So let's see if I can get that apart. If that's separated enough.
Alright, so the little clip actually just popped right off. Nothing broke on it, just slid out the top. And then with just a little finagling, the actual electrical connector came right apart. So now half of the throttle control is gonna go in here, the other half's going to go in this section, and then we'll just plumb up the controller on its way up to the console. For this part, there's only one way to put it together. The female part of the throttle controller goes in the male part of the harness, and I'm going to slide that little clip right back in here. It's tough to do one-handed, but let's see if I can get to it. Whoops. There we go. So the lock is back in place now. My light moved. And now the male end of the throttle controller goes into the female end of the gas pedal. And that's just a press fit, there's no lock on there. And we are wired up. So now I'm gonna tuck all these wires, well, I'm probably gonna start it and see if everything works first, and then I'll tuck everything away.
All right, so here's the moment of truth. Let's see how it works. SP0 and an unscientific test here, just to probably hear my foot tapping on the pedal in relation to the actual tachometer movement and the movement showing on here. Let's see what happens. Let's go all the way to 9. Yes, so not only is it quicker to respond, there's a noticeable increase in the pedal distance moving up the tachometer. It's back down to 0, and I'll try to keep it as close to the same as where I was. Yeah, you can definitely notice a difference. Cool. Okay, so this will be fun to drive around and see how it feels. Alright, so we are back installed, trim plate back on. You can't see that little zip ties, the cable that has the throttle controller on it, tucked back behind the carpet, and the jute went under this gap all the way, and now it's tucked away, whoops, tucked away nicely. Right there like it belongs. So I'll probably get some double-sided Velcro and stick it up against the actual vertical part of the console there, so it's tucked away. But easy access, clean install, and it seems to work. Next, I'll go drive around and see what I think. Alright, so just did a quick sneak around the block just to see how it felt and make sure everything was installed correctly. And I like it. It seems to make the car easier to drive at slower speeds, easier to slip the clutch and just kind of get going when you're just kind of moseying around. But when you get on it, yes, it definitely is more sensitive than it was before. You get a lot more what feels like about quarter throttle, but power-wise, I'm sure you're getting much closer to half throttle than we were before. But yeah, so like I said, I like the fact that it's adjustable, and I think I drove it on 6. It stays where you leave it when you turn the car off, which is nice, so you don't have to reset it every time. And I think I'm gonna dig it. Thanks for watching.